Welcome to the TriPOD podcast. This is a slightly new one we're going to try, and genius title we've got for it is Three Things. So
TriPOD, three things.
Makes
sense.
Yeah. All connects.
Three bite-sized topics.
Yeah.
So three things sounds better than bite-sized topics.
All related to marketing and video production, I'm assuming, roughly.
Let's hope.
A lot of these things are just sort of topical, general things that we're picking up just from things we hear, stuff we might see in the news. So yeah, we're just going to cover off a few topics. The first one that we've got is TV commercials. Are they still the daddy of the marketing world? Because some people, not me, but some people would accuse TV ads of being old style marketing, traditional.
No one watches TV, Kev. No one watches. Everyone streams now.
Well, what does it even mean to watch TV now? Because
that's a good point.
The stats for people watching YouTube on the TV now are unbelievable at that.
Well, they totally redesigned their app last year for that exact thing. Like they've totally last year was the first year that TV viewing overtook mobile viewing, and they're like, "Yep, that's what we're all about going forward."
Yeah, but in terms of the TV commercial, there's plenty of evidence to show that the big brands know that TV commercials are still massively important. So, how are they not dead yet?
Because 7 out of 10 people watching TV are still watching regular, over-the-air, live TV. That's how. Now, admittedly, the profile of that audience is continuing to shift, and it is definitely getting older. But then, for the short to medium term, that's not an issue, because actually that's generally the demographic that's got disposable cash, basically. So yeah, it is changing. There's no two ways about that. And, obviously I'm being flippant and talking about streaming stuff. There's ways to run ads on streaming, but generally, particularly for younger people, the direction of travel is away from live TV, and audiences are down, but they're still there, they're still consistent, and they're still prepared to put their hand in their pocket and spend on products they see on TV. The evidence is overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, there's a perception thing as well, isn't there? A lot of our clients who are wanting to make TV commercials, it's quite often a lot of our clients, it's the first TV commercial they made. And they've had massive success advertising on social media, and are kind of spoiled in a way because all the marketing they've done is so trackable. They can pretty much see straight away what's working, what's not working, and, pivot anytime they need to. But they still come to TV because I think they understand to kind of bump the brand up to the next level. You kind of have to, don't you? It still has that respect level that social doesn't give you.
Well, it's not just respect. I think it's credibility. And perception as well, because particularly now that a lot of online ads are clearly created with and served, created with AI, it's harder and harder, I think, to believe your eyes with what you see. I think that's the bottom line. And, generally speaking, obviously all advertising is ultimately trying to get you to buy the product, but everything you were just talking about why people get so comfortable with digital marketing is it's relatively instantaneous. We're served an ad, we saw a click, we saw a purchase, and that's how it's all geared up. And I suppose I would say that in general, the stuff that tends to work the best is relatively low value, impulse purchase type stuff that you don't need and you probably won't use very much, but it doesn't matter. It was easy come, easy go. So straight away, I think there's a dividing line there between the sorts of brands that are still absolutely ploughing money into TV, for example, are things like mattress companies, expensive purchase, even at the lower end, something that you're going to need, you want a certain quality. And yeah, you'll probably have your first interactions with that brand through the social posts and stuff, but you're unlikely, I would say, less likely statistically, to click through and just impulsively spend £1,000 on a mattress. And then, to be honest, you can go even further because a lot of the stuff that we're looking at and doing in TV at the minute is edging towards or is full-blown teleshopping type content. And it's been fascinating to kind of find out from the media agency that we're working with how many people in that demographic I'm talking about, the older audience, still want to pick up the phone. They still see an advert on TV and then they want to pick up the phone and speak to someone to make a purchase. They don't even want to go online. So like that might not be our day-to-day experience, but the facts are that is still the majority of the TV audience is still kind of in that place at the minute.
Mm-hmm. It's for me, I mean, you touched on it there as well, but the fact that we have the SA in the UK, you know, as we know all too well, to get something onto TV, you know, we'll have to do quite a lot of work to make sure that all the claims are proven.
I'm repeatedly told this country is the hardest country to run a TV advert in from a compliance perspective because it's so strict on making sure that the claims are accurate.
Now, whilst I know that most people in the general public won't know about Clearcast, might have heard about the SA, but I think the one thing that people do know is that they can, if it's a TV commercial, it's trustworthy. That there aren't just barefaced lies told on there, which is just not true in other countries.
No, it's not.
So there's that side of it as well, isn't it? That if you can get a claim cleared and it's on TV and someone's in your living room telling you, then you know it's backed up with data. So yeah, I definitely think that plays its part. So
and also, you know, just getting back to the other part a minute ago, we talk a lot about performance plateau, and that's what we're talking about here. So we've worked on a campaign in the last couple of months where they're doing fantastically well online, but they still know there's a section of the audience, which in this particular case is women over a certain age, which is 45, that they're just not connecting with, no matter how much money they spend online. It's as simple as that. So they have had to then look at TV because that's where that audience is.
Yeah, great point. So is TV or TV commercials in any danger in the short to mid-term?
I don't think so. I think, you know, the trends are what they are. The audiences, I suppose, eventually will hit rock bottom's the wrong phrase, but you know what I mean. They'll level out to a point where, you know, I mean, I haven't checked off the top of my head. I think the Christmas episodes of Coronation Street was like 4 to 5 million viewers. You know, in our lifetime, that used to be 30 million viewers. You know, like, things have changed. There's no two ways about it. But there's still ultimately a core audience there that's still dedicated and, you know, in the habit. And that's the other thing. It's habits. It's like, it's going to take who knows how many more years for generational shifts to filter through to the. It's going to be a long time before we've got a generation of consumers who are only used to watching streaming and have never really engaged with just flicking through TV channels and watching live TV. That's a long time away. So, you know, video advertising in whatever form is going to continue to evolve. And, you know, we're not even talking about things like TikTok shop and stuff like that, which is obviously a different way of selling to people and kind of engage with them. But yeah, television advertising is not going away anytime soon. It's still proving itself every day. People are ploughing in this country hundreds of millions of pounds into it every year. Yeah,
and the technology on the TV commercial side has come a long way as well, hasn't it? In terms of we've mentioned AdSmart already, but yeah, where TV commercials can actually be more targeted than they were in the past.
Well, absolutely, because we've been talking about running ads in linear programming on TV, but, you know, you've obviously got the broadcaster, VOD setups, i.e. ITVX, for Channel 4, that kind of thing, and that is still TV advert content. It's just served differently and is more targeted. You've got Sky AdSmart, which has been around a long time now, but, you know, you've got CTV, which is basically getting TV ads served to you through the apps in your TV. You've got streamers, which obviously have now all got an ad tier, you know, so it's all still TV ad content. It's just getting to you, being put in front of you in different ways, basically. All right, the second thing, video podcasts. let's talk about video podcasts. We have obviously made them, including right this second, but there's a lot more conversations happening now with, you know, clients and brands about creating stuff for them, and podcast. To me, video podcast, I'm not wild about the term, because let's be honest, all we're doing is kind of moving back towards a TV show. But I get what it is. So, a good question on the notes here. Podcasts were meant to be audio, so why are people watching them? Well, why people watch them is one thing, but there is no doubt that people are watching them, to the point where, as it happens, we're recording this the same week that Harry Hill's launched a new podcast. And although it is available on audio platforms, it is a TV show. It's half the humour in it is visual humour. Yeah. And he's literally saying in his post, he's like, you're better watching this on YouTube. You know, it is what it is. And as we sort of touched on in the first thing, YouTube totally redesigned their TV app last year, and a big part of that, what they announced at the time, was people are watching podcasts on this platform. We want to make that easier to access. We want to kind of showcase them more. So there's now a whole, you know, as you go down your home screen, there's a whole strand of video podcasts, and obviously shorts and things that come off the back of it, but it's an entirely legitimate form.
Well, audio podcasts obviously have their place, because we've all sat on a train or on a plane or something where you're on the go, and in that moment you can't watch it, so having something to listen to is absolutely fine. You're still getting the information, you're still hearing the people that you want to tune into and enjoying it that way. But yeah, like you say, I think there's more and more content creators out there that are saying exactly that. This is available in audio on all the platforms that you can get on, but it's also a video, and we would recommend you watch the video because you get more out of it. Some of the stuff that we're doing is visual. It's just more of a connection with the presenters and the people on there as well, which I think is a big thing. I mean, everyone's probably the same as me. You've probably got about 20 subscriptions to different things that you pay for every month. And, you know, if all of a sudden your money was a bit tight, you'd probably have a hierarchy of which ones could go first. Now, for me, the last one on that list, so the one that I feel like I couldn't live without, is YouTube Premium. And I think it's a shame that the regular YouTube app doesn't give you this option. But if I'm watching a podcast, which I do every day, I'll flick between audio and visual, depending on what I'm doing. So if I click the lock button on my iPhone, the video will obviously go off, but the audio keeps playing and I can just listen to the audio. So I'm just kind of dipping in and out. And a lot of the podcasts that I listen to now, which is a wide variety, you really do feel like you're missing out if you're not watching it. Like, even a lot of the Newcastle United podcasts I listen to, they end up talking about kits and stuff, and they're showing stuff. So it's like, well, I'm missing out. Yeah. I think FOMO has a lot to do with them.
Yeah, I suppose. For me, it's a little bit more dependent on A, the show, and B, what I'm doing at the time. So, like that Harry Hill one, I probably would never, even if he hadn't said it, I probably would never have assumed that I would just listen to it. Because he's not doing his typical persona on the show, but he's still doing visual stuff, and he's still just a performer, you know. Then there's others where it's only ever a conversation between 2 or 3 people, and there might be the occasional benefit to seeing them interact and stuff, but it is just about what they're saying. Plus, you know, the majority of podcasts I'm listening to, I'm driving, so there is that. But then there's others where they're available as video simply because of how they're made, as in people are coming together remotely on a platform to record, so they might as well make video as they go. And in those cases, that's kind of like, that more depends what I'm doing or what sort of... I'm very mood driven when it comes to what I'm entertaining myself with. And sometimes, You know, there's one podcast in particular that most of the time I listen to, but occasionally I'll think, actually, I'm just going to watch that one because I don't really feel in the mood to watch a TV show or a film, and I want to listen to that anyway, so I'll just stick it on and watch it.
Yeah.
That's the best way. So there's no real science to it for me, but I do think from the podcast producer's point of view, there's obviously more opportunities in the visual format to have bits of product placement or whatever. You know, like I get that there's a commercial element to it. It's not just, oh, well, we're recording, let's put some cameras up. But I think a lot of them are that. Yeah. I mean, it's not a podcast, it's a radio show, but BBC Radio Newcastle does that Total Sport thing every night. And I keep laughing when they talk about, oh, we're in our new visualised studio, which means, oh, we've put 3 webcams up. But
and we've had to buy some new wallpaper and stuff.
Yeah. But, I mean, it might be ironic depending on what people say from this, but basically all you can see is, like, you know, eyebrows and a forehead over a mic because it's just a radio studio. It doesn't need any video.
Those guys, you know, that's their craft. They've been doing it that way for X amount of years. And they're not visual people.
Well, actually saying about this, TalkSport's an interesting one. Again, I know it's not podcast, it's slightly off the topic, but they have just revamped all their studios to turn all their programming into effectively low-budget TV.
Yeah.
And from what I've read, they're doing that very specifically to kind of potentially transition into a TV station over time. So, I mean, that's a bit of a different thing. But, you know, there's no... Not that I've spent a lot of time listening to Jim White and Simon Jordan anyway, but there's no incentive for me to watch that. And when I get back to watching things, for me, it also depends on who the person is. So if there's like Conan O'Brien's got a very good podcast, and every now and again I'll watch it rather than listen to it because he's got someone on that I haven't seen them interviewed in a while, or I just know they're naturally going to interact well and be funny, so I'll watch it rather than listen to it. But I mean, this is our personal impact, personal experience. But according to the notes here, more than 1 in 3 people are watching podcasts every month. So, why are you watching them first? It seems to be you're geared up to watch first, listen if you have to, whereas I'm kind of the opposite.
Well, no, I think I would agree with what you said. I suppose maybe we're evolving out of the word podcast because and we're evolving into a word that I know you hate, content. Because there is so much of it now. You could look at that as a good thing or a bad thing. But the good thing about it is that it means that you, as an individual, can really niche down into things you're interested in and pluck those and take those out. If the visual medium is available to you, then why wouldn't you look at it? Why be restricted by the word on its own? I mean, we might really be showing what age here, but...
Should we put them up on screen now? What
a podcast was when the iPod was out and you could download podcasts,
which is why it's called podcast. Yeah,
is so much different now to what would classify it as, and a huge part in why that's changed is internet speeds as well. The availability of like being able to stream really high quality video on pretty much any device, pretty much anywhere, has changed the game. So I think it might just be a kind of an evolution that we're in, and it's happening a bit too slowly for it to see how obvious it is that we've kind of outgrown the word itself. Like I say, like to me, it revolves around what I'm doing practically and the mood that I'm in, and I'll usually flick between the two. And usually when it comes to watching a podcast, it's you kind of know, you tune in because you know what you're going to get from it. So there's a kind of comfort level to it. And yeah, like you say, a lot of them, the visual option doesn't really give you anything or that much more. But the fact it's just there means that you, as Steve McManaman said, we'll have a look.
Well, I definitely think that the YouTube is probably going to be the thing that settles it. If they keep going in this direction of travel, I think they'll basically change everyone's behaviour over time so that most people are watching first rather than listening first. We'll see, but that's what I feel about it.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think if the day ever comes where you can click the lock button on your phone and the audio will still play on the YouTube video you've been watching. Everyone will do it. It's worth the money just for that alone.
I didn't realise that we've actually got some stats here, which I suggest we put up on screen. I'll just quickly run through them and then put them on screen. So just to sort of underpin some of the stuff we're talking here, here's a few quick stats. 51% of people aged 12 and above in the US have watched a video podcast, and 37% within the last month. 26% in the past week. So, I mean, that's, I don't know what that would equate to in other medium, but as in, I'm sure more people have watched TV in the last week, for example, but that's still pretty high numbers. 77% of people apparently regularly switch between audio and video. Interesting. And then in a preference here, we've got about 41% of podcast listeners say they like to actively watch video, whilst only 30% prefer audio only. Interesting. YouTube, over 1 billion people watching podcasts every month, just on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Well, who is going to make a podcast and not put it on YouTube?
Well, no one.
Yeah, no one now. So, yeah, if there's a podcast in existence and it's not on YouTube, you're probably doing something wrong.
Alright, come and speak to us, we'll sort you out.
Yeah. Should we move on to the third one?
The third thing.
Let's light this rocket, yeah.
It's not a rocket, it's a drone. You don't light it, you fly. Yeah. Okay, so third thing. Drones, which we have talked about before and we've written articles about before. Question is, fad or fixture? I'm going to start by saying the fact that we're still talking about them and that they continue to evolve and continue to get cheaper and better and, you know, made it to a certain weight so it's a lot less restrictive to fly them with the right paperwork, etc., they're here to stay. I don't think they're a fad. I think the fad element is how they were used. I mean, in simple terms, from our perspective, about 7 or 8 years ago, all of a sudden it's like, oh, look, there's a video that in the past would have been shot with a camera on a tripod, and now for some reason every shot is a drone shot. So I think that was the fad. It was like people just getting excited about what they could do with them. Mm-hmm. And obviously, we've done some cool stuff, like, you know, the shot that we did 10 years ago, now I think about it, maybe more longer, flying over the Angel of the North and stuff, you know, like at the time that we started the business, that absolutely would be, we've got to go, you know, drop about $3,000 to hire a helicopter to do a 30-minute flyover with a camera fixed to its nose. So there's no doubt about it that, you know, they've come into their own and they're a key part of production. But I'm pleased that I see we use them when we need to, but I'm pleased that when I see other people's reels and stuff now, there's just a lot less drone for drone's sake. So that's what I think. I think the fad part has passed. But in terms of where we're at with them now, I mean, obviously we've got there's an expectation because they're so cheap and accessible that obviously we've had clients who have talked to us about shooting in interiors at their shop or something, and they've just casually said, "Oh, obviously you'll just fly a drone around, won't you?" It's like, well, yeah, not necessarily, but yeah, definitely expected. And I suppose, I mean, you're probably more on top of this than I am, but a huge subculture of people doing drone-only content for YouTube in particular. Yeah. What does that look like? That's just more...
Well, but before I answer that, can I just point something out?
Please do.
In about 2007, we started going down the road of getting a quote for a helicopter shot. And I'll never forget the guy that was talking to us about it said, just for the rig on the helicopter where he's like the mount for the camera itself was £2,000. Just for that, for the day, not even the day, however long the helicopter was up in the air, just that part of it was £2,000 before you even get into the helicopter, the pilot itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite restrictive back then. That's why I didn't get that helicopter shot. No idea what that project was that we're quoting on. I just always remember talking the guy and me jaw hitting the floor. Yeah, well, I would agree with what you've said about fad. I think any new bit of kit that comes into video production, it happened with GoPros as well. It happened with sliders. It happened with DSLR cameras where everyone starts making stuff that just looks the same, and then it just loses its wow factor. That's the thing. Drone shots have lost their wow factor because the general public's quite used to seeing them now. Every film, TV show you watch, you're going to see one in there, which is fine. I think as long as if you can make a case for why it added to the production value of whatever you're doing, absolutely fine. But hopefully we're past the point where it's like, well, yeah, we just have to have a drone shot because, we've got drones, so let's use drones.
It's like anything else, isn't it? You work out what you're going to shoot and then you work out the equipment you need to get the best shot. If it happens to be that a drone's part of it, fine.
Yeah, well, like I say, everyone's always their heads turned by the newest bit of kit on this, so that just has to kind of play itself out. But yeah, in terms of so like drone content on YouTube, yeah, there's a lot of. We'll put a link to the Auditor YouTube video we did because it is interesting to me. I mean, those videos are entertaining because it's always entertaining when you don't know if you're on the side of the person that you're watching or whether you love them or hate them.
Yeah. Whether
you agree with it or not, I flip between the two when I'm watching them. But yeah, I love the way that sometimes they'll get a bite from the security guard or the manager will come out of the building and start shouting at them, before they've even got the drone out. And then when they say, well, I haven't got my drone shot yet, and get the drone out the back, the people hit the roof.
It's amazing how many factories that make widgets in the arse end of Spennymoor or somewhere think that they should have a level of security that's the same as the head of the European naval force that you went to or something,
So yeah, the reason that they can get around a lot of the laws is because they're flying mini drones, which are under 250 grams.
Well, I was going to say, within the last 10 years, as far as I understand it, you're more on top of this than me, that's why I'm going to ask you. It seemed to be that if we're going to do things properly, we had to have a pilot who'd been through certain courses, had certain tickets, was keeping things up to date and refreshing themselves. Now that these drones are capable of delivering the quality of image from such a small unit, that seems to be exempt from that. How easy is it for us? Because I know about, a couple of months ago when you and Maddie were back and forth trying to get permission from a local authority and stuff, there's still rules, but compared to what it used to be, how easy or not is it to incorporate drone into what you're doing?
There's always been a line between private/personal use and commercial. So if it's commercial use, yeah, you need a drone pilot. You need someone that is licensed. And when we've used drones, we're using an outsider who's basically that's their specialty. There is a bit of a grey area again that these auditors can exploit, which is still not classed as commercial if you're just making revenue through YouTube. So if no one's paying you to be there and film, then it's not commercial, even if on the back end you're getting 30 grand from YouTube for all the watches and that you get. But there are going to be, so that when the auditors are arguing that point, they're correct. So unfortunately, those people that are outside their building shouting,
shaking their fists,
they're in the wrong. Yeah, this is why our advice was just don't engage with them at all. But yeah, there are going to be changes to the law in the UK this year, I believe, which completely change that. So they're bringing in new classifications, and I believe the smallest weight class is 100 grams, which as far as I'm aware, anything under 100 grams is a toy.
Yeah.
Not something that you're going to be able to use to do the level of stuff I'm talking about, like the DJI Mini and stuff like that. So yeah, that's going to shake up their kind of little industry that they've got going on. Doesn't impact anything on the commercial side because you'd be using a heavier drone anyway, and like I said, be a professional pilot, so they're always going to be in compliance with whatever the laws are. Obviously in this country we've had problems over the last few years with drones turning up outside of airports and causing chaos. So the government, I think, are quite far behind in sort of catching up with the technology.
Really?
Yeah, they are.
Slow to respond to modern life. That's strange.
Yeah, unfortunately they are. But to be honest, with the change in the law, one thing I can imagine happening now is the second-hand market for drones becoming like very healthy. It's not going to be retrospectively applied. So if you keep the drone that you've got that's in compliance now, as far as I understand it, for the foreseeable future, then you can continue to use it in that way. So I think people are going to be, taking care of the drone that they've got now, and start buying your parts for it basically to keep it running.
Buy a second one now for parts later.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I mean, like I say, commercial side of it not really impacted at all.
I think the main thing for us is, they've no pun intended, settled into place. In it as just another bit of kit in the production arsenal, and like anything else, you pick your camera, you pick your lens, you pick whatever based on the shot you want, and that's the way it should be, really.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's easier than...
Obviously, the quality from them is better than it's ever been as well. That keeps getting better.
Absolutely. I mean, using a drone over some bits of traditional kit is really helpful. Like, I still remember thinking Jamie was joking when he said, so you want to hire a fuck off? Was that a what? A fuck off, it's a big stand, basically. Yeah, better off using a drone than a fuck off, I would say.
What a line to end on. What a bleeped line to end on. Well, there you go. 3 things. Discussed,
yeah.
Filleted, analysed.
Yeah.
Don't know what the takeaways were, but we definitely talked about 3 things.
Yeah, well, if you have any things that you want us to talk about, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Again, if you've got anything useful out of this, drop a like. Would appreciate it.
We've never actually solicited people to put questions in before, have we?
No, dangerous. Dangerous, because then if you're getting on, it's a bit sad, isn't it?
Yeah, we can rig that. We can get someone to put something in.
Yeah, we'll bleep that part as well, sure. Yeah, well, thanks for joining.
Just bleep all this. Yeah. Just one long bleep. Sorry.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Thank you.